What's going on, everybody? So here's a fun little comparison for you. So what we've got sitting in front of us here is the brand spanking new Beretta 92X Performance and the Beretta 92X Full Size. I know when the Beretta originally released the X series of pistols, it definitely caught a few eyes. A lot of people actually started getting really confused because most people would call this the Beretta 92X. And then you'd have other people say, oh, I bought a Beretta 92X, but what they were actually talking about was this guy here. So, clever marketing by Beretta. So what I want to do today is go over the two, mostly just go over like an overview kind of thing, give them a little fancy look-see, and just go over parts, features, and maybe if you're in the market for a Beretta, see which one you would go for. Now, I already have a review out I did not too long ago of the 92X compared to the Langdon Tactical Elite LTT. So I'm not going to focus too much on this pistol because that last review kind of showed most of it. We're more or less going to focus primarily on the 92X Performance and the differences that it has from the standard 92X. So let's just get right into it. So the 92X Performance took the internet by storm when Beretta did their announcement and released it. Everybody just like shit their pants, like, oh my god, like look at this thing, that's incredible, it's amazing. Me, of course, being a Beretta fanboy, I had to have it, and I couldn't help myself, so I bought one. So let's go over the two, and I'll just kind of go over some things with you and show you primarily what you would use either of the two pistols for. So up top, the 92X Performance has got a fiber optic front sight, serrated rear. That's pretty much the trend now. You don't generally see guns coming out with night sights, things like that. The trend is leaning towards fiber optic sights, or tritium sights up front and a blacked out rear. It's just kind of the way things are going. The 92X Performance does have the 92 Brigadier slide. So what that is it's basically a heavy reinforced slide that was originally developed for the 40 caliber round. Now, clearly, as you can see, this one's a 9mm, but if you look at the thickness of that slide, especially right in this area here, right where the locking lugs are, it's very heavy and reinforced compared to like the Vertec frame on the standard 92X. Much smaller. So the primary purpose behind this pistol was weight. They wanted to be heavy. And by heavy, I mean goddamn guys do I mean heavy. The Beretta feels like a friggin' Glock after shooting this for a month, and you go back to like a standard old Beretta 92. The weight is like not even in its own class. It's very heavy pistol. They designed that to help with recoil mitigation and recoil control because the gun doesn't, or the weight's meant to keep the gun from jumping around kind of thing. We do have front and rear cocking serrations with what we call a Beretta calls sawtooth serrations, both on the front and the rear. Compared to a standard Beretta 92, which has just got the standard straight serrations, nothing, classic Beretta 92, nothing on the front. Now, something I found interesting with the Performance is they went back to the original style 92 barrel, where it's got an actual like protruding, like the barrel protrudes at the end of the slide, in a standard like crown, whereas many pistols this day, like Glocks, Berettas, SIGs, a lot of them are switching to the like a target style with a target crown. So look at that friggin' cat hair. So basically what that means is the rifling and the crown of the muzzle, or the actual crown, is recessed inside of the barrel. So you can kind of see that. You see how the rifling actually ends before the end of the barrel. They do that to protect the rifling, protect the crown of the muzzle from damage. The 92X Performance doesn't do that. So I thought that was interesting. Continuing our way forward, the 92X Performance realistically is built like a Ferrari. This gun it's built to go fast. It's meant to like go Power Rangers, just like kick the tires, light the fires, like do what you got to do, but go is what it's built for. The 92X is kind of one of those guns where it's what do you want me to do? Do you want to go to war? Yeah, let's do it. You want to carry me for law enforcement? Sure. You want a good home defense gun? Absolutely. You looking for just a range toy? Yeah, it'll do it. You got two very different philosophies. You've got I can do everything good. And then you've got I can do one thing great. is kind of what the philosophy is behind these guns. Now, here in Canada, there is a substantial price difference between the two. The standard 92X, again, here in Canada, this is Canadian dollars, not US dollars. I see these comments on my videos all the time about how we pay too much, we're getting ripped off. Guys, import-export fees, distributor fees, costs, markup, the exchange rate. You got to understand why guns are more expensive here in Canada. But that being said, this guy goes for about $1,250, $1,100 to $1,300 is what you're seeing for a standard 92X. This big son bitch right here goes for just a hair shy of $2,000. So to give you a point of reference, a Tavor here in Canada goes for about $2,400. So you really, really, really got to want this to be willing to justify that kind of money towards it. And that's where we're going to kind of get into it, is this gun is a competition gun. It was built for competition. Right now it is production legal in IPSC and USPSA as far as I'm aware. From what I've heard, it's too heavy for IDPA, but I can't confirm that. I don't shoot IDPA. I'm an IPSC shooter. But a gun like this is production legal for IPSC, so that's pretty kick-ass. And it shows when you get into the controls. Now, the controls themselves are set up for like handling fast shooting. So what I mean by that is when you're shooting and you've got your proper grip on the gun, you're firing, your thumb from your firing hand rests on the safety naturally. It just naturally goes there. And your support hand, when you rest, it rests right on this nice, beautiful little extended takedown lever. So it literally just rests. And that is insanely comfortable. Like it just naturally goes there. I've heard some other YouTubers complain that like when shooting this actually like digs into their thumb, hurts their thumb. I haven't noticed that. I can't comment on that. It's never bothered me. I've put just about 900 rounds through this gun in the last month, or a month and a half, I guess. And it doesn't hurt me any, so I can't comment on that. Now, getting into the controls as well, I saw this video, and this video really irked me. I don't know why, but there was a guy, he was looking at it, locked open, and the video title, I think, was Beretta 92X slide release. And you see him going like this, trying to release the slide, but he couldn't reach it. Now, I'll admit that the safety quite literally gets in the way. Like you cannot reach that slide release with a standard shooting grip. You have to, like, I'm talking dismount the gun into the base of your palm to reach that slide release. Now, mind you, I don't have huge hands, but you really gotta like dismount the gun to reach that slide release. Here's the thing. In production IPSC, you don't run a gun dry. It's very seldom you should ever run the gun to slide lock. And if you do, it's generally because you screwed something up. You don't run a gun to slide lock. Reloading with a round in the chamber, so like this, it's still loaded. I drop the mag, load the next round in. That is how it's generally supposed to be done. You should never run this gun slide lock. You should never have to use that slide release. So that's kind of my comment on that is, when again you look at the philosophy of the firearm, it's built for competition, not for like run and gun or war kind of thing, where you could potentially run a gun dry and you gotta reload quick. In a competitive market, if you run a gun slide lock, generally you did something wrong. So that's my comment on that. Fuck. So you probably just saw me do it there. I have been running Beretta 92s for about 8 years, almost pretty much religiously, with the exception of the occasional SIG or an H&K, but I still, after running this gun exclusively for over a month, I'm still finding myself reaching for that decocker on the slide that is not there. So what I mean by that is, like with my 92X here, is when I'm shooting, I'll do my load, make ready, blah, 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 and I decock the pistol. This doesn't have that. The 92X does not have a decocker. And honestly, that's a real gripe for me. I prefer a decocker. I want a decocker. This gun doesn't have a decocker. Now, again, competition gun. For those of you who know anything about the internal workings of firearms, a gun with a decocker generally has a not as good trigger as a gun without. Guns without decockers or decocking mechanisms generally have better triggers because there's less linkages, there's less parts, there's less things interfering with the mechanism of the trigger. So they're just known for having better, lighter, more crisp triggers. So with a gun like this, it does have a double action setting. So generally, if you're running like a production minor kind of thing, You can, load your gun and then just grab the hammer and you just got to decock. You just got to be careful because I've seen people with CZs do this all the time. I've witnessed it probably 6 times of people they go to lower the hammer, but they pull the trigger before they actually grab the hammer fully, and off she goes. And most of the time that generally leads to a DQ, so that's bad. So with this you can, the double action trigger on this gun is incredible. We had one of those, I can't even remember the name of the trigger pull gauge. She pulls at 6.4 pounds almost on the dot. Like it's so consistent. It's literally, and I think you saw me rave about this in my video with this one. It's the same thing. I don't know what Beretta's doing with their triggers, but they are incredibly consistent and they're disgustingly smooth for a double action gun. You just don't expect it. Like it's just great. Single action, I mean, the single action pulls right at about, on this one it pulled at 4 pounds, so it's actually quite heavy for a single action. But the reset is short, audible, tactile. Really good trigger. I've had people who shoot CZ Shadow 2s, they shot this, they really liked it, they were surprised how much they liked it. So that was, that's kind of a bit of a confidence boost for myself. Continuing our way on, so one gun has got a safety mechanism, one has got a safety decocker, or in the case of this one, this is a decock only. The safety mechanism would be more or less if you're running in like open or standard kind of thing for this one. So you could, cock it, safety on kind of thing, and you could holster it, and you could run in standard, or if you had like one of the optics mounts, when Beretta did their launch video of this, you saw a guy shooting with the whole mount and a red dot, you could run that in open and just keep that hammer cocked. So the safety does disable the firing mechanism, and the safety does also work when the gun's in double action mode. So I could turn the safety on with the hammer down, and that's as far as it goes. So neat little feature. The safety also, like many 1911 style firearms, locks the gun up. So if the safety's on, the gun is locked. I've never used the safety. Actually, this is the most I've ever used the safety since I picked the gun up. So that just give you an idea. I don't like it. I don't like safeties. I prefer decockers. Now, when we work our way down, here's one of the real gripes I have with the performance. And I'm full disclosure, this is going to sound petty as all hell, and I apologize, but for $2,000, I expect everything. So on this gun here, this has got the Beretta enhanced texturing. So it's very similar to that of the RTF2 finish you'd see on a Glock, or the laser texture finish on a Smith & Wesson M2.0. It's very aggressive, and I love it. Like you could sand down wood with this finish. Like it's so aggressive, and it just feels really good in the hand. Now, for a gun that was designed by competitors for competitors kind of thing, the grip is insanely smooth. Like it looks textured. It when you run your finger across it, feels it. When you shoot, it's crap. And there's just no other way to put it. The grip, the plastic grip on a 92 FS is more aggressive than this is. And I can't understand why they would have done that. Now, I'm sure you saw when the video released that they had the Vertec grip, so it's got the other panels. I like the bigger 92 FS grip, so that's why I have the wraparound. On the back, they've got some violent texturing. Violent texturing on the back of this gun. And I've heard of people shooting this, and it's just killing their hand. Now, me personally, I don't mind it. Like I like a really aggressive grip, so shooting that, it doesn't bother me any, but I've heard of people complain. Now, I kind of wish they had this texturing all over the entire grip. That would make Happy Kyle kind of thing. But again, minor criticism. The finish is some kind of, it's not stainless steel. It's a coated finish. I don't remember what it's called. I do apologize. Then the X series has got the standard, Beretta 92 Brunaton finish. Very good finish. Now, if it really came down to it, that's more or less the features of them. I mean, aside from that, they've got a couple little things like extended mag releases. Both of them have the one has a beveled magwell, or the 92X has a beveled magwell. The performance has got more of a flared magwell, which is great. I mean, you can reload this gun incredibly fast. It's a very pleasant gun to shoot. It's a very pleasant gun to run. The only other gripe I'm really gonna say about this, about the performance, and again, it sounds like I'm really ripping on the gun, but I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to be very honest. The only two things I absolutely hate about this gun is the grip and the recoil. Now, for a gun that's over 2 pounds, you'd think that the recoil wouldn't really be an issue, but I explained this before when I did my video of the Elite LTT versus the Elite 2, that Brigadier slide puts so much weight up top that you've got a massive amount of metal cycling back and forth. And I've found that this gun has a lot more felt recoil than it should for its weight class. It like the muzzle climb actually isn't that bad. The gun doesn't like jump around like that kind of thing. It's the constant pushing motion into your hand. Like it feels like a 40. That's how I'm going to describe it. It feels like a 40 caliber handgun when this gun cycles. Now, it's really not that difficult to control. You can mag dump with this gun very easily, but just it feels more powerful than it actually is. Or the recoil, it just feels more harsh than it actually is. Like if you watch on slow-mo, it doesn't kick, like it really doesn't, but it feels like it does. So that's how I'm going to describe that. It feels worse than it actually is. Only other thing I want to comment on, because I saw a guy say this, he was all pissed off. He's like, well, it doesn't take standard Beretta 92 magazines. Where did you get that? Because, I mean, to me, this looks like a 92 platform. This is a 92 magazine. That fits just fine. This is a Metgar M9 magazine. That fits just fine, and it works. It locks the gun open. I've shot these mags quite a bit. They cycle the gun just fine. So, yes, it does take Beretta 92 accessories. It does not take 92 holsters. You'll need to find a holster that will support a Brigadier, or in the case of that I got one of the Ghost holsters. I think it's a Ghost the 1 or G1 or something like that, for competition. So, nitty-gritty, is this worth the price, and would you choose it over its competition? So its competition, of course, is the CZ Shadow 2. Now, anybody who's anybody in the competitive market knows that CZ has a chokehold on the competitive market. The Shadow 2s, the SPO1s, they are the competition gun. That's what they've been known for. Beretta designed this specifically, at least in my eyes, and when you look at how it shoots in the controls, they designed this as a direct challenge to the CZ Shadow 2. And to be truthful, I think it's a very successful challenger. Now, is it going to break CZ's chokehold on the market? No, I honestly don't think so. At $800, or sorry, at least here in Canada, at $600 more than the cost of a Shadow 2, that's a tough sell. That's a tough sell. Berettas have been shooting in the IPSC market, IDPA, for a long time, but nowhere near to the level that CZs have. So when you look at a gun like this, it's a stretch to say that this will break CZ's hold on the market. So take that for what it is. Now, if I had a Shadow 2, would I trade a Shadow 2 for this? No. Would I trade this for a Shadow 2? No. This is kind of, they're both neck and neck in the sense that if you have one, you like it, keep it. If you're in the market for one or the other, you gotta get a feel for them, because again, I can still see numerous people going towards the Shadow for the sole sake of price. And that's where I'm going to leave it. I absolutely love this gun. I think Beretta hit the nail on the head with this gun. It's a phenomenal gun. It will not take on CZ when it comes to the competition market. Thanks everybody for watching, and I will see y'all next time.